welcome back to the What Do I Know podcast, where we just talk about basically whatever's on my mind. We basically just figure out and understand that we don't know anything in this world, so we just gotta always learn to figure out what morals, principles, and frameworks everyone agrees on, and to figure out and learn about other people's perspectives. In this episode, I want to understand and talk myself through and hopefully help someone figure it out for themselves how to build urgency. I was inspired this video for me to make it, honestly, is watching a video of Robert Greene. Now, if people don't know who Robert Greene is, you should change that. So there's this book of his. He has a few books. I haven't read this one yet, but it's on my list. It's called The Law of Human Nature, and he has a bunch of other books. The very first one that really put him on the map was the 48 Laws of Power. He also has written The Art of Seduction. I think Daily. So there's a newer book of his, like Daily something. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I think there's somewhere in here it should say. I don't know. But Robert Greene is a phenomenal author. So he's written Mastery, The 50th Law with 50 Cent, The 33 Strategies of War, The Art of Seduction, The 48 Laws of Power. And there's another book that's not listed in that one, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. But the point being, urgency. Why is urgency important? Well, to quote Robert Greene there, as everyone knows but doesn't like to think about, the next heartbeat, the next breath is not promised. Nothing's ever certain. The only thing that's certain in life is that you'll die. Or at least your physical body will die, cease to exist. Everything after that is an unknown to the present knowledge of most people. If I don't even know. I'd say maybe there's people who think they know. There's no present way, at least that I know of, that can actually explain what happens after the body dies. But the next breath, the next heartbeat, the next second is never promised. Some people, and I've thought, that's a scary thought. I don't want to think about that. Let's just think about everything's going to last forever. That I have all the time in the world, which is not true. The next second could be the last. The next hour could be your last. Today may be the last day. So why do I bring up this ominous topic? Well, because me personally, I haven't had urgency. So I have not truly had the discipline and the urgency together to get out of the situation I'm in right now, to create a better situation for myself. And I need to figure out for myself how to create urgency. So I'm just going to record myself talking through it, so hopefully it can help someone else. Because right now I have no one else to have a conversation with about perspectives. So this is what the podcasts are going to be basically about. Hey, the first 50 episodes are going to suck, so just bear with it and laugh at it. Laugh at me with me, all right? So how would I create urgency? How do I create it? So, okay, let's figure out, what is urgency? What does urgency mean? From my present knowledge and my previous experiences, urgency is the feeling or internal pressure or internal force of it's an internal pressure and internal force of discomfort with the understanding of how fickle everything is. It's probably a good way to put it. I'll figure out a better definition. But urgency. Urgency is a demand for action given a lack of time. That could be a good definition. Dang. I live in downtown Chicago. I pay almost $3,000 for rent, and yet I can still hear my neighbors. It's crazy. I could just rent a house with half the rent and then not hear anyone. So actually, a side point, just because he can, which I can't right now, I can't afford this place as of right now, and I'm behind on rent. But the point being, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Little thing to live by, little tidbit of knowledge for anyone. But the point where I'm trying to make, urgency is key, because even if I have, I guess urgency could create discipline. Because I had discipline whenever I was working at my opportunity with Yield School, phenomenal company, by the way. Not associated. I got fired with them on New Year's, actually, on the 30th. Yeah, I got fired from them on the 31st at 1:15ish p.m. on New Year's Eve. But I had discipline in life, and then with dialing as well. I mean, what was it? Where is it? I had, let's see. So I did, but not enough discipline. Now look at, this was just a day. Each line is a day's worth of dialing. So I didn't dial that much. I did 203 dials in one day though, which was a lot. But the discipline that was is that I sat down and dialed every single day until I got fired. Base. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but someone's like banging on something, and I can hear it in my ground and in my hallway, so I don't know what's going on. There it is again. I don't know if y'all can hear that. But you can have discipline and not have urgency. And you can have urgency but not have discipline. But I think urgency can cultivate discipline. Because if you're urgent and, like, let's say the doctor says you have 3 weeks left to change your diet or you're going to die, that urgency of oncoming doom, oncoming death, of something within your control, would then build the discipline to take back control of the situation. So I think, honestly, urgency can create discipline. So then how do we live in a state of urgency that doesn't tear us down? Because, like, for me at least, like today, I'm gonna be real. I had written out, two things happened. One, for some reason my washer didn't drain last night. So earlier in the day, I did my load of laundry. I literally had 2 blankets, one like this, and then one that's like maybe twice as thick. Just those 2 things in the washer. And for some reason, it doesn't drain all the way. It drains mostly. There's like maybe a couple inches of water in there, which I need to call the maintenance team about and get them to fix that. But for some reason, is not draining. So I hung the one blanket up in the shower for it to air dry. This morning, it still wasn't dry, by the way, which was crazy. So then because I didn't have urgency and I didn't have discipline, I chose to go, there it is. Because I didn't have urgency and discipline, I chose to go lay down back in bed and meditate. And I started thinking for a bit, and then eventually I fell asleep. And then I didn't get out of bed till like 9 o'clock because I had no urgency. And why do I tell you that? And also I also did some embarrassing things regarding cookie dough. I'm a sucker for cookie dough, and I'm trying to break the habit of eating sugar. I've broken the habit of eating sugar as of now. Until I make a choice otherwise, I've quit sugar. It comes down to a choice at the end of the day. But urgency. Even today, whenever I started thinking of the situation I was in, then I got my urgency back. But up until then, I just wanted to run away from the thoughts. want. I did not want to face the things I had to face. I didn't want to face the demons, the negativity, the sorrow and the pain and the burden that I have put and forced upon myself. I ran from my urgency. I ran from the situation that laid before me, distracted and numbed myself from it. In turn, I distracted and numbed myself from the urgency, which then in turn would build my discipline, which then in turn would get me out of this. So at least for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but if I can figure out how to build urgency, then I can continuously build the discipline and get back to where I was and then some. And then if I can keep that urgency at every minute, every second, every breath of the day, then I would have the discipline and the clarity to make and take the actions that I know I need to take. So, comes back to the earlier question. How do you build urgency? I guess you build pain. Taking a little note from my sales experience. So why don't we do a goal-oriented syntax? So you gotta figure out, I'm literally reading off a post-it note that I used to use for sales. So you gotta figure out where you're at in depth. So for me right now, I am, Mom, if you ever see this, I didn't tell you anything because I didn't want to stress you out because you were already under enough stress, and stress makes your health worse. So right now I am like 10 grand behind on rent. I owe two people very dear to me, Cameron and Gabriella, money. Gabriella is because we got bed bugs. Cameron is because he paid for the deposit for this place and paid for 1 month's rent whenever I was building the business with him. I have student loan debt still. I think that's like 3 grand. And I have credit card debt, which is about 2 grand. And with Cameron and Gabriella's combined, that's about 6-7 grand. So in total, I'm like fucking 20 grand in debt right now. And it's not going to get better the longer I wait. And yet, whenever I really look at that and think about it, I'm like, oh my, that's terrifying. It is terrifying. To be 20 years old, no present job, no guarantee to make money, 20 grand in debt. But I have all the food I need, and even though I don't have my heat on, it's like 69 degrees in my apartment with these big ass windows, so there's that. That's pretty cool. And because I've been scared, because I've been giving into my fear, because I have chosen to go and listen to the accumulation of negative, low vibrating energy, I have fallen from where I was. And because I've made those choices to ignore and numb and run from that discomfort, from the pain, from the disappointment, the disgrace, the disgust, because I've made those choices, I've hidden my urgency. But after going on a almost hour walk, my hair literally had ice in it because I was outside for so long. It was snowing out here in Chicago. It was only like 23 out. But it was snowing, and some of the snow melted in my hair and then froze again. I was out there for that long. And I really came to terms with what's going on. And it all comes down to choices. 6 p.m. Comes down to choices. Ooh, Gary Brecka. That's a good guy too. Good guy to study, Gary Brecka. Really interesting fella. But I came to an understanding that I actually didn't put it in this terms, but I lost my urgency. I literally just got it back, honestly. or at least consciously, I've always had it. I've chosen to become more aware of it, to give it more attention. Because where my attention goes, my energy will flow. Where that my energy flows, that thing will grow. Recently, I'm going to be real and transparent with y'all. Like I always am. I've been letting my attention go towards sugar, women, and honestly, this podcast. Those are the three things my attention's been really going towards. And what went wrong and the problems before me. Cameron, my best friend, one of my best friends, told me that I look for problems more than solutions. And I was like, I couldn't disagree, but I didn't know how to change that. But I think it comes down to changing it through urgency. Because if I urgently need to fix this problem, because I have to urgently fix this problem, or it's just going to get compoundingly worse, as it already has been, it's just going to get worse beyond my imagination. So because it's going to get worse, because it's no guarantee, what happens if I turn off this light? Kind of looks cool. Yeah, welcome to the Super Focus podcast. ADHD through and through, my man. Hey, it's a superpower, though. It is a superpower if you know how to harness it. But, where was I? Yeah, how to cultivate urgency. I think you got it, at least for me, I got to figure out all the pain and sorrow and disappointment and disgust I have with myself and the situation I'm in. Write it out. Then I need to do that. Then once I have every single point of pain, disgust, disappointment, and unmet expectations, then I figure out, okay, how am I going to get out of this? Okay. No, just look at the pain. Look at all the problems. And then shift your mind from, okay, this is what I'm... Look at super professional podcast. As I said, first 50 episodes are going to suck. So, get used to this. Also, an episode counts as being an hour or more long. Everything in between is just kind of me yapping at the computer. So, I don't really I just talk until I think the message is done with whatever I'm speaking on. So, I don't know how many episodes I'm going to make. No, I do know. I'm going to make 22 episodes before the first one's ever published. Now, how many actual conversations with people I'm going to have? That's a good question. I'm on episode 2. So if I go over an hour on this one, that means I have roughly 20 or 19. What happened there? What if it froze? Yeah, it froze. Oh, my system load's heavy. Wonder what my system's doing. Probably because I have a bunch of tabs open. I have a ton of tabs open. I wonder if anyone else does that. Like, do you guys have tons of tabs open? Because you kind of forget to because at least I have them open because I think, I'm gonna keep having value with these, and I don't want to reopen them and et cetera, et cetera. That's why I keep all my tabs open. I think I have like 8 open. But where was I? What was I talking about? Episodes, yeah, an episode's an hour or more long. Eventually I'll get to talk to people. Hopefully they actually turn into episodes, but I'm going to post everything I record as long as I get their permission, because why not? And I want to get this on Spotify, but I haven't invested the time yet to sit down. I should have done this today instead of wasted on Netflix or Spotify watching podcasts, quote unquote learning, not actually acting. But I want to get it on Spotify, but I don't know how to change the file. It's like, I think it's a web file, and it has to be like an MP3 or something like that. I don't know. I need to learn more. I don't know, which the whole point of this podcast. But yeah. Really, urgency. How to build it. Figure out your pain and just look at that every single day. Figure out your pain. Figure out what actions you can take every single day to overcome it, to get out of it, to change your situation, and then look at your pain every single day. I'd say I'm going to start doing this. In the morning, I'm going to look at my pain, look at my actual situation. I'm going to write this out on a little piece of paper. So whenever I want to go start scrolling on this little device right here, if I want to go eat sugar, because that's a real weakness of mine, if I want to do any of that, I go read that thing of the page of pain, and then that should build the urgency I need to realize the situation I'm truly in. Because my mother has told me this, that I search to make my environment chaotic because of the way I grew up. And that also would go into what Cameron said, is that I look for problems, but not for solutions. Growing up, I only saw the problems and never could give a solution. A proper one, at least. Never took action upon the ones that I now know. So if you write out your problems and write out your solutions you're going to take action on, every single time you think of numbing, distracting, or running away from whatever you need to do, read your problems, which should then build the urgency for you to then take action on the things you already figured out you need to take action on. For me, that'd be doing a morning routine, getting in the cold, getting uncomfortable, working out, which I'm going to do after this, building my mind and my knowledge, studying sales, and then start working on making money and making a decision on which path to go on. Because right now I have 3 paths ahead of me, and I haven't made a decision yet. I just want to find some certainty. But the only certainty I can guarantee myself is how I'm going to deal with situations, how I'm going to react, and that death is going to come for me eventually. The only certainties you can guarantee in life is death and how you view yourself. That's something I've never thought about before. You control the narrative to yourself, so you can guarantee how you view yourself. Who would have thought? I'm gonna have to think about that more. Okay, so is that actually true? I don't know. I just came up with a thought. So if the story you tell yourself is a story you live, and you can control the story, so then you can control how you live as long as you act upon it and react to the situations in a proper manner. But if you can control your thoughts and how you think about yourself with enough attention and effort towards that change and perspective shift, then you'd be able to guarantee how you look at yourself. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm gonna think on that. I'm gonna write this down. There are only 2 guarantees in life: death and the way the way you subconsciously treat yourself, let's say. The way you consciously treat yourself. Because if you because subconscious can come from being a child and developing and learning from your environment. But if you can consciously, which is a choice, consciously is a choice. So there are only two guarantees in life: death in the conscious way. In the conscious way you view yourself. I don't know if that's true or not. And that was said, let's say the 6th. Yeah, that was said on 1/6/2025 at 6:11 p.m. I like to date and time things whenever I can, because it's like, that's what I was thinking about at that period in time. Because, like, what was it? Okay, so, little thought experiment, right? So, quantum level, things are coming in and out of existence, always vibrating, uncertain. Next level is like atoms, electrons are jumping, then molecules, and then, I don't know, like some structures, probably molecular structures, and then structures of the molecular structures, and then we probably get a massive jump between things. And then people. And then we have the spin of the earth. So the movement of all of those small things. Then the actions of people and everything living on this planet. And then we have the spin of the earth with a spinning body around the earth. While it's spinning around the sun that is spinning throughout space, or throughout a galaxy that's spinning, throughout a universe that's expanding through a potential constant web of multiverse, potentially. Which I think is I'm not for sure, I don't know, but I think it was a theory that the way quantum computers solve stuff so fast is by like somehow tapping into the multiverse, which is a crazy theory if that's true, which is pretty cool though. That'd be really cool. But we could potentially live in the multiverse, in a universe that's expanding into nothing, in a galaxy that's spinning and colliding with another galaxy, in a solar system that's spinning in the galaxy, surrounding a spinning star, on a planet that's going tens if not hundreds of thousands of miles around the star while spinning, with a big rock spinning around us. On top of every single living being, entity's action. All of that uncertainty, yet you can control what you consciously think. That's a pretty cool superpower. There are only two guarantees in life: death and the conscious way you view yourself. Because you can guarantee how you think about yourself. See, this is why I like talking like this. This is why I want like a co-host or something, or someone to bounce these ideas off of. Because it'd be cool. I think I need to get my best friend, Anthony. Him and I on this podcast, actually. Ooh, should I call him? I might call him. I'm going to call him. Context. Let's see if he actually picks up. This is going to be awesome. Let's see. It doesn't look like it. Looks like he's busy with something. He's probably...
Hi. Sandy.
He's doing a lot of schoolwork at ICC. He's a really smart guy. Really, really smart guy. And I've known him since he was like 3 or 4, and I was like 4 or 5. I've known him. He's my oldest friend. The one I've known the longest. Him and his brother are, but his brother and I parted ways. For reasons I won't get into on this podcast. Maybe in the future. But that's a trippy thought I gotta talk to him about. I got no one else to really call to talk about it. But, food for thought. Maybe one day I can get someone off the pod, someone who watches this. That's like the end goal, to get like anyone interesting in the world on this podcast and any of the viewers. I think that'd be really, really cool. So how would that even work? I think it'd be like just having a conversation. What do I mean by that? Well, just learning about a perspective. Like, hey, how you doing? Good. How you doing? Man, I can't complain. I can't have a bad day. So on this podcast, all we do is just realize that we don't know a lot, and that to actually know a lot, you have to learn a lot. So we're just all learners here. And the point of this podcast is to figure out frameworks, morals, and principles that the world agrees upon, and to just learn about other people's perspectives and experiences. And I brought you on because you can perceive things and you have experiences. So what's something you think everyone should know about? And then just start asking questions. Be curious. Oh, why is that? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Oh, sweet. So what's something that you never thought would have happened to you? Yada, 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 yada. What's an experience that you'll never forget? Yada, 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 yada. Etc., etc., etc. Just ask questions, and then I want whoever I'm talking to ask questions about me too if they want. I'm an open book. Obviously, I wouldn't be if I wasn't posting stuff on the internet. Oh boy, this is gonna be hilarious to look back on. Episode, let's say, this potentially could be episode 3. So let's say episode 100. I'm gonna actually review every single thing I post. That'll be like homework. Oh, that's gonna be embarrassing. That's gonna be hilarious though. Looking back after 100 episodes to see how bad these first like 50 to 75 episodes are. That's gonna be awesome to look back on. Oh man, I'm gonna get a good laugh out of that one. Probably anyone watching this in the future too. Like, imagine if I actually stick with this podcast for the next, 20, 30, 40 years, and people come back and see some dumb 20-year-old kid in a place he can't afford just laughing and coming up with stuff. Like, there's only 2 guarantees in life: death and the conscious way you view yourself. Like, what 20-year-old thinks of stuff like that? Man, I'm weird. It's probably why y'all are watching, because I'm weird. But everyone's weird. As I've said before, there's no such thing as normal. The only thing that's weird is not being authentic, in my opinion at least. If you aren't true to yourself, true to who you actually are, you're the weird one, because you're trying to wear a mask. But most people are wearing masks on masks. They wear a mask to hide from themselves, like I was doing earlier. And then they put another mask on, depending on the group they're in. And they put another mask on depending on the person they're talking to. Well, actually, no. They put a mask on from themselves, sometimes more than one mask. Then they put a mask on whenever they are out of their comfort zone. So whenever they go out in public, go talk to people. Then they put a mask on for the people they're around. So a mask for themselves, a mask for the environment, a mask for the group, and then a mask for the individual they're talking to. I don't know for a fact, but from my experience, usually people have 3 to more masks on. But then there's that few who's just always authentic. Like Gabriella, or Cameron, or Anth. Shannon too. Which is probably why I don't have that many friends. I also haven't really gone out much. I can't afford to go out. I can go on a walk. And that's also partially why I go on, Tinder and all that jazz just to find someone to go hang out with. But at the end of the day, that's not the best thing for me right now. Some people may, that sounds like such a lonely life and so boring and so dull and sad. And it's like, well, depends on how you perceive it, This is just the price I have to pay to actually live the life I want, to have the adventure, the perspective, the experiences I want, to live and create the vision, dreams, and aspirations and goals that I have for myself. Is it a worthwhile price to be lonely for the next 5 to 8 years? To live the life I've always dreamt of? To be around the people that helped me get there, who actually helped me create a better world? To become the type of man who attracts the woman I want? I think it is. 5 to 8 years of solitude to attract the people I want in my life. That's a price I'm willing to take. As long as I can go out on a walk every once in a while and go in the woods, I'm okay with that. The hard part is I don't have the woods. Honestly, if I had some woods, that'd be awesome. Just go around, walk, climb some trees, sit under a nice tree with a nice spring breeze. I'm a city boy raised in the country, y'all. I got a bit of everything in me. Nah, not a bit of everything. I just have a lot of unique experiences that's made me into the man I am. But yeah, I have to be the type of man who attracts the type of woman I want. Which is why I know looking on Tinder and Hinge and all that is such a waste of time, because I'm nowhere near the man I want to be. Which means I'm nowhere near the woman I will attract. The man who actualizes and creates the visions and dreams I have will then attract the woman that would help me create that life. I just would like to meet her sooner than later, but that comes down to me, honestly. It comes down to the choices I make, choices you make. The choices we make, the choices I make, the choices you make lead to the future, lead to the outcomes ahead of you. It's your power to control your future after the age of, I'd say, truthfully, honestly, after the age of 14, I'd say. Right around 7th grade. 7th grade would be 12, right? I was 10 years old in 5th grade. Yeah, so about 12 years old to 14, depending on your maturity and your characteristics, personality, and experiences. And now I can feel some people saying, oh no, that's impossible, yada yada yada, yeah, that's too young, etc., etc. Well, why are you saying that? Are you saying that because you're looking back and, at least for me, regret the way I acted? Yeah, I do. I should have treated and reacted to my situation better than I did, with retrospect. But I still made a choice, and I was old enough to understand consequences, at least. I was old enough to think through my actions, old enough to understand that the concept of cause and effect. I didn't have the knowledge or experiences that I do now, but I think everyone who's watching this could agree that you understood the concept of cause and effect. You understood at least how to get away with something, how to hide something, which means you could think and make a choice. If you hid one okay, how about this? Think back to the very first time you ever hid something from your parents or your friends, whatever it may be. That's when you were old enough to start choosing your life. You just didn't understand what that meant, realistically. You didn't have the ability to see the future, or not see the future. I don't even know how to see the future. You didn't understand how to comprehend what the future actually held, and the length it could potentially hold as well, and the weight that every decision actually made. Some people may be thinking, oh, that's terrifying, I don't want to think about that. Well, yeah, it is kind of scary. But what's scarier? Choosing to hide your power from yourself? Choosing to weaken yourself? Choosing to run from yourself? That sounds scarier than actually facing the stuff that's ahead. Paying the price for your dreams. Living the life you dreamed of. Seems scarier to run from that. To run from who you truly are. At least for me. I don't know about you. I'm not you. I don't have your experiences or perspective or dreams, goals, vision, or ambitions. But for me, at least, it's scarier to run from who I could be. And look in the mirror and say I could have been better. Which is something I have to live with my years in high school. Something I'm changing right now. That I've been working on since I left high school, honestly. I've been working on since I left college, honestly. Easier said than done. But everything worthwhile has a price. Because nothing is truly free in this world. Everything has a cost. But you gotta figure out what is worth it for you. I'm gonna say it one more time because I really like this and I want to think on this more. You gotta figure out what's worth it to you. You gotta figure out what your dream is, what the potential price would be, and if you're willing to pay it. And you may think, that's impossible. I can't even pay that price. That's too much. And yeah, you're right. You can't pay it as you are. So become the type of person who can pay it. For my dreams, my vision, I'm nowhere near able to pay off that debt, that price. But I froze. Hello. I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Okay. I'm not the man right now who can pay that price for my dreams and my vision. I can start paying it off, yes. But become the person who can afford it. Like I'm becoming the man who can pay the price for my dreams. I am becoming the man who can pay the price for my vision. And that is a choice. That is a choice that you can make if you understand yourself. If you do the work, if you look deep enough, you can pay the price. Truly, you can. You can have whatever you want. Are you willing to pay the price for it, though? That only can come from you. And now, once again, you may be asking, well, I don't know what my dream is. I'm pretty sure I already covered this in like episode 1 or 2 or whatever this is. But once again, look back whenever you were young. Figure out what you liked. And write that down. Then write another list of what do I want to experience? What perspective do I want to live? I think that's the meaning of life, honestly. The meaning of life is the meaning you give it. Figuring out what perspectives, what experiences you want to have, minusing the price you're willing to pay. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say I want to own a private jet, minus the financial costs, the time costs, and the sacrifices equals the price I'm willing to pay. Well, actually, that's not a good analogy. So let's write this out, actually. Okay. Post-it note for the win. So, perspective or experience minus price equals action cost. Okay, there we go. So, perspective and experiences minus the price equals the action cost. What do I mean by that? Everyone knows how to get in shape, roughly. Not technical, but I'd say move a lot, or get good sleep, eat healthy, move a lot. Pretty fundamental. But a lot of people don't want to pay the price to actually get in shape. They don't want to give up the simple pleasures. They don't want to give up the laziness, the sloth, the glutton. They don't want to pay the price of action, the action cost, to achieve the goal, dream, ambition of getting in shape. They haven't made the choice that it's worth it yet. But once the pain of inaction, or once the pain of action becomes greater, I'm saying this backwards, yeah. Once the pain of inaction, or not taking action, is less than the pain of action, then you will make the change. And how do you do that? You build urgency with discipline, with consciousness, by making the choice. You choose whether or not something's painful or not by the story you tell yourself. The story you tell yourself will then build the urgency, which then will build the discipline, which will then build the actions, which will then change your situation, which will then change your perspective, giving you new experiences, which then will bring you closer to your goals, which then would allow you to reevaluate, restructure where you're at, and then do it again. Now I gotta practice what I preach. I gotta practice what I preach, realistically. But that comes with time, because taking or changing a habit, it does take time. Everything takes time to change, to learn, to grow, to become anew. All takes time. That's just another price. So you gotta figure out what your pain is and what price you're willing to pay for your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. I'm willing to pay the price of loneliness for the next 5 to 8 years. I'm willing to pay the price of not eating fast food, ultra-processed foods, sugar, ice cream. I got a dairy allergy, but Ben & Jerry's has some really good non-dairy ice cream. Oh my Lord, it's good. But I'm willing to give that up. I'm willing to only eat the food I make. I'm willing to only see my dear friends and family every once in a while. I'm willing to be alone for the next decade, to become the type of man who can achieve my dreams. It's gonna hurt more than it already is. It's gonna suck more than it already is. But that's just the price I have to pay for what I want to experience and the perspective I want to have. So I'm gonna end it there. Hopefully this is more than an hour, so maybe this is episode 3. I don't know, I just kind of talk until I think it's about time to end it. But honestly, truthfully, I'm going to look at this eventually. Drop in the comments if you agree or not, or what your thoughts are on the thing I thought up earlier, which is, so drop drop some comments. Hello? I'm frozen. Hello? Uh-oh. I have frozen. Oh, am I back? I am back. I'm not editing anything. I don't want to learn how to edit, so that's all staying in, y'all. So I want everyone, whoever watches this, to give me your thoughts and to have a discussion on what your thoughts are on this. There are only two guarantees in life, which are death and the conscious way you view yourself. One of those is in your control. If you think, like I do, that that's actually a guarantee is the way you view yourself, that alone should really change your perspective and hopefully change your life. But I don't know. Give me your thoughts. Talk about it. Because that's what this podcast is about. It's the What Do You Know podcast. But I gotta get going. So, peace y'all. Till next time.